Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Sunless Skies. So I flew out here to the well mouth, all the way out here, and then realized I forgot to bring any of the standard bribes. I packed the hold full of supply crates and also these curator eggs that I'm waiting to break open. And I forgot to bring any gemstones or immaculate souls, so fingers crossed we won't need them. I will say, on the way out here, I did have to fight an Eater of the Dead. 2 hits. Turns out you can kill him in 2 hits with the Wrath of Heaven. Makes the place a lot more survivable. Alright. Descend into the well to form an alliance with the thing interred within. It just seems like such a bad idea. Here's the thing, I'm thinking about the thing that happened yesterday. About the decision that Citizen Shore made. I have to imagine there's a little bit of existential panic, in the same way that the Agitator, in her last moment, wished that it could have been anyone else given over to the fire. Probably there was something in Citizen Shore's decision of fear of being given over to the fire themselves. And there's going to be a tremendous amount of guilt about the decision in general, but also about, those little bits of selfish motive that creep into such a decision. And what do humans do with guilt? They transfer it to their enemies and then destroy it. It's like a tale as old as time, man. So, feeling very motivated to kill the particular son that we feel is at fault, I suppose we are driven to do some things that we might not otherwise do if we weren't trying to kill the manifestation of our guilt. The sons feared it and imprisoned it here. Perhaps you and it can help each other. With harness, pythons... Do you say pythons or pitons? Whatever. With harness and, the metal things that you hammer into rock and a carefully secured rope, you climb down the ice of the well's mouth and into the dark, which seethes and scuttles and surges up from below, and the darkness is spiders, thousands of spiders. Not common spiders, but sorrow spiders, each the size of a cat, and the leg of one is knotted to the leg of the next. A living tidal tapestry of them, gushing across the icy walls. A voice reaches up from below, and you realize that this seething flood is only a digit, only a finger, of the incomprehensible mass of them trapped deeper in the well. Man, I'm glad I'm not afraid of spiders. Sorrow spiders were a plague on old London, due to their custom of stealing eyeballs to lay their young in. Wow! Sometimes they would become knotted into a spider council, but no council you ever heard of is comprised of more than 40 or so. The thing in the well is billions, a spider senate. Its voice is soft. And who is this? A creature of ambition, a creature of imagination, a creature prepared to do what others would not. Okay, turns out we need a Crimson Promise. We have a ton of these, actually. You intend to kill a son. Perhaps that would interest the Spider Senate. The Spider Senate does not laugh. Yes, I would be interested. I have had a long time to think about it. I cannot leave the well, but my legacy could. You could carry it for me. You've come this far, of course you agree. The spiders surge across you. There is an unpleasantness concerning your left eye, as it is opened and hollowed, and an infant sorrow spider laid gently inside. I said I wasn't afraid of spiders. It turns out there are limits. We will need a web to span the stars, the Spider Senate says, as the deed is done. Establish spider councils in Eleutheria, and the domains of the King of Hours, and the territories of the Garden King. They will be our first strands. We are embarking upon a great work, a work of centuries. Despite the savage pain and occasional stirring in your eye, you linger in the well for hours, laying your plans with the Spider Senate. When you emerge from the well, your path is set. Okay. So this is a little non-specific. Establish a spider council in the Reach. That could mean a lot of things. I guess we'll go to New Winchester and start there. I'm definitely concerned that we are maybe replacing one huge problem with a different huge problem. Well, nothing for it at this point. I've sort of committed here. So, back to the Reach with us. Well, this is interesting. I figured before we left the Blue Kingdom, we could go ahead and barrel through the Clay Conductor's plotline one more time. So I put all the stuff together to create the Copper Companion, and I went to give it my voice. I offered up my voice, and this happened. The Clay Conductor looks up once from the body of his new companion. Thank you. His expression is wistful, almost lost. The White Minister fetches her silver spindle and advances upon you. She is about to hook the thread, she's about to hook the thread about your tongue, when the Clay Conductor cries out, "No! Damn you, Captain. Stop." The White Minister lowers her spindle and steps back. This was a mistake. His gaze falls a final time upon his companion. Cover that up, please. I guess we must have impressed him enough with our desire to sing to him that he's not willing to have us pay this cost? I can only imagine that's the thing that's making the difference here. So what will we do then? The White Minister is covering up the hollow copper shell with blue cloth and summoning spirits to convey it away. The Clay Conductor turns to face you, but his eyes are unseeing. His voice cracks. We can talk on your engine. I'll be along shortly. He looks back at the body on the slab, now shrouded in blue cloth. Go, before I say something I'll regret, besides what I've already said today. The White Minister bows briefly as you pass by. The Clay Conductor wishes to be alone. Speak to him later aboard your engine, so I guess we're just going to have to wait for him to come to us on that one. Well, we can certainly do that, and I'm still not letting the Blemigan hang out in the forge, because we don't have another mascot. He is going to be indentured to me for a time longer, given what I had to pay for his bar tab. We're not quite back to New Winchester yet, and by the way, it turns out that's not really where we need to go anyway, but it seems that the Clay Conductor has come to a conclusion. There is a hammering upon your door in the dead of night. The knocker is insistent. They will not go away, and they will not let you sleep. It is the Clay Conductor. I wanted to tell you that I am not leaving. I assume that you thought I would be, given my reasons for traveling have failed. He draws a deep breath, and his eyes finally meet yours. I mean, Captain, I'd like to stay as your first officer, if you'll have me. This is kind of wild. Refused. Too little, too late. And he has decided to bother you with this very late indeed. This is like, what a wild change in your relationship it would be to do this suddenly at the last moment. Yes, of course you're allowed to stay. For the first time, you see the conductor's face open in a broad smile. Of course, Captain. I shall resume my duties immediately. He goes to turn away, but stops at the last. And, if you ever wish to sing with me, you have a very fine voice. Over the next weeks, morale improves. As first officer, the Clay Conductor's mood is infectious. It's spread throughout the crew. They're happier and more productive. Occasionally, when you pass the Clay Conductor, you find yourself humming a snatch of a song of the Clay Choirs. Sometimes, when working alongside each other, you find yourselves humming in harmony. Wow, seems like he's the caring conductor now. I think we did a really good thing here. Also, tons of XP. We have a facet to spend, and we've almost got our next facet already. Finishing the Clay Conductor's quest is worth a ton of experience. So, let me show you here what I meant by we're not really going to New Winchester. I mean, I'm going to New Winchester, because we gotta buy fuel and stuff. But the version of the ambition in our journal tells us very clearly what we need to do. Port Prosper or Lustrum, then Perderance or Brabazon, then the Empyrean or Langley Hall. So I think we're going to do it in Port Prosper in the Reach, because that's extremely convenient, and also I think that the people who work at Port Prosper kind of suck, so I have no problem dropping a Spider Council on them. In Albion, I'm thinking maybe Brabazon. It seems like we don't really have a lot of ways of breaking the cycle of, effectively, slavery there through normal means, but if we were to make it the seat of our power in Albion, perhaps we could effect some real change. And then the Eleutheria one, I don't know. I'm undecided. That's definitely going to be the last one we do, so I'm not going to stress about it too much for now. We're about to establish our first satellite spider council, but you know what? Before we do that, I think let's actually cash in this facet. I'm pretty curious about dining with December here. You have earned the gratitude of December, founder of the Revolutionary Calendar Council. All who exist under the stars have been harmed. The revolutionaries say all have grounds for vengeance against the enforcers of the law. But why did you seek kinship with them? For the hope of a better future? I think this is more accurate than for the sake of revenge. It's not the better future that the Calendar Council is hoping for, but it is a better future. This text obviously doesn't exactly apply, so we'll get a tale of terror and a permanent point of villainous affiliation. But hold on, there's one more here. What is Steam and Soot? Oh, okay. We've had that on previous characters. And Thief Oaf is just... yeah, these are just the ones that you get for having high affiliations. Okay, yeah, let's take Dining with December. For the hope of a better future. Hey, look at that. 25 iron. I don't think there's anything that we actually want to do that requires 25 iron, but now we could. And by do, I mean equip, of course. Alright, your sorrow spider has outgrown your eyeball now, of course, which is only a useless husk. This ambition has been very, very hard on our body. You watch your spider scuttle across the shingles looking for chimneys or drain pipes near open windows. You spend a week in Port Prosper. You are surprised by the lack of headlines reading "Mysterious Plague of Stolen Eyes" and the like. Apparently, the Windward Company keeps a close rein on the local newspaper and does not like panic. Before you leave, you visit an attic draped with veils of cobwebs and spend a night knitting the legs of infant sorrow spiders together to form a spider council. Oh, on purpose we do it. Wow. That's a pretty screwed up thing to do. I think we have become maybe unbearably monstrous. I think there's some concern there. Well, let's just go ahead and flit through the transit relay here and head over to Brabazon. This next one should be very easy to do, and then, unfortunately, I've got a little bit of a long solo flight ahead of me after that. I feel like this ambition has us just traveling back and forth a lot more than the others. Maybe it's because I was doing lots of stuff while I was doing the other ones, and so I was actually accomplishing the individual steps of the ambitions, you know, pretty far separated in time. But if you really just want to chase down the steps of the truth ambition, you spend a lot of time flying between regions. Just over and over again. Go to this region, go to that region. In particular, the New Winchester to London path is very well trod. Well, there are a lot of people who live in Port Prosper, presumably. They don't all work for the Windward Company or the Crown. So I do feel a little bit bad about, you know, all the stolen eyeballs and everything. And honestly, on Brabazon, I'm just really hoping that the Spider Council kind of sticks to the little Nice end of the bridge. But let's be honest. We both know it is the poor who will suffer most, because that is how suffering works. Citizen Shores just got to keep convincing themselves, you know, it's the greater good, it's for the greater good. Also, it's vengeance. I am doing a vengeance right now. But yeah, this has turned dark and screwed up. I guess, much like Citizen Shore themselves. Sky has a terrible effect on people. Except for Sister Patel. Honestly, Sister Patel basically just became more of the thing that she already was. If anything, Sky made her more heroic, because it kept putting her in a position to be heroic without having to, like, put a lot of extra effort into it. Okay, the bit between. Your sorrow spider is cunning and will be able to find its way down to the work world. You release it, and sure enough, watch it scuttle silently after an overseer as he passes through the gates. Time moves more quickly on the work world itself, so barely a day has passed for you when the spider reappears, its work already done. In the wordless signed language of its weaving legs, it informs you of a forgotten factory, now clogged with webs, where the juvenile sorrow spiders have learned to knit themselves together, using an old spinning jenny. Well, that's resourceful of them. We have managed to drop the strength of the Clockwork Sun down to 0, so that's pretty cool. I don't know if we can blow that up, but that does seem like the kind of thing that Citizen Shore might get up to. For now, though, let's focus. We have a long flight and another council to establish. We still have one spider council to establish, and I'm still a little torn on exactly how I want to do that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I thought we would swing through Caduceus on the way over to Langley Hall, which we're going to regardless of whether or not that's where we're putting the council. Because there's something going on here that we do not have a grasp of yet, and I want to try to get a hold of it. We don't have any new options available. I'm wondering if the Rite of the Rose is just going to be exactly the same as it was last time. It will take 100% of our moments of inspiration to actually do it again, and I'm really worried we're going to end up spending this pretty valuable currency and getting absolutely nothing out of it. But I think we should at least find out. So let us once more participate in the Rite of the Rose. Thorn Maiden rises from her throne and strikes a single bell. Let's see here. We get past a garland, like a bottle of perfume left in the sun. She raises her arms, lifts the crown. The rest is lost in a crest of sudden sunlight. Yeah, so that's not any different. As your eyes adjust to the illegal radiance of the sudden sunlight, you can see that the Arboretum has been entirely transformed. Statues are covered and crowned in wild roses of every possible color. So, do we have any new options here? Participate in the Mystery of Indulgence. That's new, right? We did the Mystery of Beholding last time. Okay, so we have unlocked a new option. We're gonna have to go all the way through the ceremony before we can use it. Let's approach the Thorn Maiden. I have given of myself to the rose. That totally did happen. This is also a new option, I believe. She stands apart from the celebrations. Only a single Bacchant remains at her side. She is watching you. The Thorn Maiden considers you for several moments. Finally, she shakes her head. You are still not ready for Euryphaesa? Euryphaesa. I don't know what that is. When the petals are about to fade, when the roses offer you much, give instead. You are still too much yourself. That is what I did. As you turn away, she reaches out to you. Her hand is cool. Her copper bracelets tap your forearm. The rose is palest before it falls. She releases your arm and turns away. Once again, yeah, I interacted with the pale rose last time. I guess it doesn't actually matter if you do it that way the first time, but now we definitely want to interact with that one over the others. So, I guess let's just hang out and do some of these actions, right? We did not do everything. Let's kiss a rose. Some celebrants press their lips to the flowers. You bend to a rose the shade of a smoldering sun. The scent is of burning jasmine. The color drew your eye in, and your tongue follows. The taste is as the ashes of Savonarola raining down on Florence. Drops of nectar wash down your throat like stolen sips of wine. Despite the bitterness, you feel a yearning inside your stomach. It is as though you swallowed the longings of a son. It passes in moments. Okay, that's pretty weird. So what? We definitely did dream in the roses and cavort amongst the roses last time. Let's take a gift of the roses. Celebrants wander among the roses, naming and entreating them to offer up jewels held in the petals. A celebrant with lobelia tangled in his hair leads you to a patch of roses blooming in red and black and gold. Each gleams with something akin to dew. The youth pulls back the petals of the nearest, exposing a jewel, broad as an athlete's thigh, and faceted as the mortal soul, nestling in the rose's maw. Only take one. It will be affronted should they all be plucked at once. He offers no further explanation. Which will you take? I don't have any idea. I don't have any idea what the outcome of this might be. I don't have any idea which of these gems is the most valuable. So we're only seeing a red rose in the art here, but we've been told the roses are of all colors. If all of the roses were red, then I would say maybe it's smart to take the ruby, like maybe they're signaling something to us. But we were told they were of all colors, and like these are red and black and gold. Honestly, I don't know. Let's take this citrine. The petals brush against your hand like sylphs as you reach in to grasp the golden stone. It smells of honey and wine. A dream, the celebrant says beatifically. The finest of dreams. Okay, 50 sovereigns and a vision of the heavens, which is, whatever, it's fine. Okay, we have to do a couple more things here. Let's examine the roses. Now that we've had our hands and mouth all over them, maybe let's just look at them for a second. You carefully peel open a great azure rose, blossoming on the head of a statue. A wash of perfume spills out, heady as Benedictine wine. Within, the rose is wet with dew and nectar. We definitely did this option already, actually. Well, visions of the heavens are useful. They do at least trade for moments of inspiration here, if we can ever find a griever to kill. Dream in the roses? Partial success. Okay, in your dream you water the roses, for they are thirsty. We give of ourselves to the roses. You have a jug of wine as red as the passion of Mars in your hand. You tread a maze of roses, all tongued and lapping at the wine the wine you pour over them, stickying the petals. The scent of pollen is strong as Samson, and slowly you drowse. You wake covered in crimson droplets. They are not wine. Huh. 4 tales of terror, really. It's a shame we don't need those at all. I'm going to take a gift of the rose again. We'll just take a different gem this time. A ruby. A gift, the celebrant says, an odd smile on his face. They bring us such gifts. They have no use for them. Okay, so the choice there doesn't actually matter, at all. Okay, participate in the mystery of indulgence. We have burned enough time. Celebrants gather in the Hall of the Pipers, where a field of roses bloom purple as a Byzantine court. Celebrants throng a crimson-masked rose-binder carrying a thyrsus. First, she draws your attention to a fountain of wine, scarlet as saint's blood. Then, she gestures to the celebrants around her, their mouths red and hungry. Finally, she begins stamping in time to the beat of the drum, sounding from far below the temple. She offers indulgences. Which will you partake in? Giving of ourselves, we were explicitly told to give of ourselves, but this will reduce your hearts. Why is everybody always trying to take my hearts? Why can't they take my other stats? Which will you partake in? In sorrow, I guess, because we were explicitly told we should give of ourselves. Okay, it was only 1 point at least. A rosebinder offers you a chalice, decorated with serpents and devils chained coil to hand. They listen attentively as you recite your litany of woe. They offer a fresh perspective on each sorrow, revealing something about each encounter that you had not considered before. In every instance, it makes the memory worse. When the chalice is full, it is taken away. Wow, that sucks. That's like a really crappy thing to do to a person. The light fails, the roses sicken, wither, and are gone. And we can speak to the Thorn Maiden again now. So let's leave the rose binders to it, clean it up and everything. Okay. What are the rose rites? Is she going to give me some real information here? The Thorn Maiden smiles and beckons you close. She whispers, "There is a gate behind the glass. There is a kingdom that is not. There is a sky more sunless. There are promises that beguile, and dreams that do not lie. All impossible, all attainable. This was once an escape. Now it shall be a union. 3 powers conjoined, like serpents on a staff." She leans back and looks away. Okay, well that was more. We definitely got more there. I wonder... I kind of want to come back with 3 more moments of inspiration. This is a costly plotline to advance, but I think we're going to. Alright, well that's a concern for another day. A day in which we have 3 moments of inspiration. For right now, let's go to Langley Hall. So, for our third Spider Council, our third and final, we have the choice between establishing it at Langley Hall and establishing it at Eagle's Empyrean. My initial inclination is that Langley Hall is a lovely place, and I don't really want to fill it with eyeball-stealing spiders. But I do think that there is a strategic concern. If we are building up some kind of network of power that is capable of killing a sun, and we are doing so while, you know, not really working for the Calendar Council, but at least being associated with the Calendar Council, my concern is that our network might somehow get taken over. Oh, hey, a Griever. Might get co-opted, you know? Yes, absolutely. Decipher the sigils in its bones. Okay. One more moment of inspiration. We're working on it. Yeah, my concern is that we may find that our network gets co-opted, that we may end up being responsible for the deaths of a larger number of stars than I would like. I think here we're just going to mourn the dead. I don't think we have anything else really important to do. So I wonder if, from a strategic standpoint, it might be a good idea not to weaken the Khanate, especially in Eleutheria, because we might need them to help push back against the thing we built. I'm just trying to think long-term here. If I build my Spider Council in Eagle's Empyrean, I'm sure that's going to make it difficult. This is going to make life really difficult for the Khanate. But do I want to infest Langley Hall? Especially considering how much we know that Sister Patel was fond of the place, even if she was also scared of it. And especially given how fond we are of the place. I don't know. I don't know that Citizen Shore could bring themselves to do that. Now, there is the consideration, I suppose, that the house is sort of infinite. So there's lots of room for the spiders to not have to interact with anybody. But we know that's not what they would do. Apparently they love eyeballs. Yeah, I think we're going to set it up in the Khanate. I don't feel good about either of them. Okay, his lordship's grand clear out. Here's the thing, we don't have a ton of money left. I mean, 90 sovereigns for a roll of Thirsty Bombazine is actually a pretty good price. I'm just thinking that, like, we're actually kind of low on fuel and supplies, so I want to make sure we have the money to buy some. And we get 360. We're fine. Okay, Langley Hall. I do not remember what the affiliation was that was necessary to advance our plotline here, but it seems like we're close to finding Lord Langley, and I would love to get that done. So, relive your dreams in Langley Hall. Perhaps a short stay in the hall will ease your nightly wanderings. You'll need provisions for your stay. This will cost supplies and will fully remove your unwillingness to leave. Interesting. So we want to explore, right? We want to access the couple of rooms. Okay, apparently we just have the affiliation necessary to be admitted to the study. And we still need to do the bathroom thing, but we can do that by just swapping our officers. So yeah, knock for admittance to the study. You can hear hushed whispers and the rustle of papers. There's a smell of pipe smoke. Alright, we've now found the study. A bevy of academics congregate inside the study where they discourse, dispute, and declaim. Here Lord Langley has a panoply of curiosities from old London. Skulls without eye sockets leer from the shelves. That's very strange. Encrustations of amber gleam in the lamplight. Bottles of fungal wine are stacked on shelves at desks. 2 stately gentlemen appear to be, between sips of scotch, tossing a curled-up mammal back and forth. That's not a ball! We'll rescue it. We'll be its hero. The pair are only too glad to accommodate your questions about their toy, which is revealed to be a spectacularly well-shaped, well-mannered pangolin. Oh, pangolins are, like, adorable. Despite their assurances that the animal consents to the peculiar treatment, the pangolin looks distressed. It takes several hours, 2 games of catch, an inadvisable amount of alcohol, and the discovery of a rattan ball in an unexplored cupboard to free the pangolin from its elegant captors. You have the perfect pangolin. Well, aren't they all? So if we... Okay, we still have to do the thing with the cook in the kitchen before we can really pursue Lord Langley, it looks like. Alright, what is keeping us from doing that? Oh, hey, the clerk. I did go back and give the clerk the correspondence she needed to get herself out of her contract. Let's have a talk with her. How's she doing? She's wrestling the cork out of a wine bottle. The wine glugs cheerfully. Isn't that the most beautiful sound? Please, have a glass. The clerk is constantly distracted by greetings from those entering the kitchen. Sorry, didn't expect to recognize this many. I can't believe so many of those I knew found their way through the avid horizon. She has not yet seen Langley. Not that I'm surprised. Back then, I gave him what he needed to keep building the hall. He's probably still working on it. She shrugs. I intend to keep coming back here from the forge. We'll run into each other eventually. She's summoned to the card table. With apologies and another thank you, she's dealt in. Okay, well, seems like she's having a good time. Okay, we have to bring a caged catch back here. I think that's information that I had. Well, you know what? I will go to Pan and get that done. Let's really quickly here leave Langley Hall, swap our officers and get our third point of Bohemian affiliation, and then unlock the final room so that we don't have to worry about doing that again. Okay, intrude upon the bathroom. Inside you can hear the running water and the sound of someone being indecorously sick. You have finally found the lavatory. There is a queue for the stalls. A notorious vaudeville act is occupying the nearest and is emptying their stomach noisily. A cluster of lesser lights has assembled around the door to ostentatiously offer sympathy. Someone has set up an impromptu bar by the sinks. Perched on an upturned bin, a fiddler plays along with a trombonist. A flautist waits for their time to interject. Actors, dancers, and poets take turns performing, entertaining, and competing with their peers. So, for some reason, we can pay a sovereign to jump to the head of the bathroom line, I guess? Or we could just debauch if we felt like debauching. Of course, you'll need to bring your own cups, because there's no cups in the bathroom. Well, it seems like that's not a thing we really need to do. I am kind of curious. You know what? I don't think that at any time during our travels with any of our characters, we have used the bathroom. This might be a good time to relieve ourselves of what must just be a tremendous amount of pressure. A brief moment's respite. The gilded fixtures of the stall. The warmth of a bath all to yourself. A glass of something to calm your nerves. Outside the door, an alto sings an aria. She powders your nose for you on your departure. 100% worth the coin. Okay, return to the hallway. Leave Langley Hall, for now. Gotta go get us some caged catches, so we'll do that so that we can re-equip our, so that we can remain equipped with our weapons. And yeah, I guess I'm gonna fly to Pan and back to get a caged catch. I'll see you in a second. Alright, now let's try this. I went back and I got our caged catch. At some point we're gonna have to spend this final facet. We have hit level 20. Obviously, not a super high priority. We are not near any major stat thresholds, I don't think, so probably it's going to be more about the plot and the other reward than about the stats. Although it might be a good idea for us to pick up some more hearts, just because we keep running into ways to lose hearts, and I didn't even think about this until while I was flying back to Eleutheria here, but if we had successfully given up our voice for the Clay Companion thing, the Clay Conductor quest, we would have lost hearts, right? Didn't we lose? We lost 5 or 10 hearts on Sister Patel when she gave up her original voice. So that would have been a huge pain. It's actually really good for us that he stopped us. Anyway, search for Lord Langley. You were told he was on good terms with the cook. Perhaps she knows where he is now. A donation to the kitchen would probably help you out. Yeah, I don't think you should make people eat this, but listen, you do you. Really? That is bad. Hopefully this will be a fail-forward thing. The cook listens to your entreaty with a stony expression on her face. As you finish, she makes no sign she paid any attention to a word of it. She lets you sweat for several minutes before opening an iron door concealed in the range. Here, she grunts, producing a battered pair of black dancing shoes. Told me to always keep these handy in case he ever shows up. Think he's been gone long enough now. You take these to him. She makes a face. He made me almost empty our pantries for his trip. Must have carried off at least 3 baskets. Last I saw of him was him bent double, hauling my finest. She smiles to herself. Okay, so yeah, just for some reason that gained us terror. Not 100% sure why, but that was the... not sure why from a story perspective. That was obviously the penalty for failing the roll. Okay, so... we may now... go to the study, it looks like. Alright. Lord Langley may have left a clue. If not, it'll at least be a space to think and go over all you've learned. So, this is going to cost us some of our supplies. Obviously, we have enough. You've ferreted out all that Langley left behind. Here in Langley's study, you have the tools to see what it all suggests. You lay what you found on a desk in a quiet corner near a starlit window. The picture of the 2 men from the cupboard, the soul for safekeeping, the map to the study, the shoes with the cook. What could it mean? Well, we could get very drunk. It works for students. Does it, though? We could consider the worst, if only to eliminate the possibility. It will increase our terror, which is not super high. It's certainly in a place where we can deal with it. Or we just take our time, leave no stone unturned. I'm not in any huge hurry, I don't think. Let's just really think this out. You agonize for hours. Candles burn low, are replaced, and burn low again. The academics, recognizing a fellow sufferer, provide an endless supply of cocoa. Finally, when there are no more candles to light, you think you have it. Lord Langley isn't looking for anyone. He wants to be found. Why else leave a trail of clues throughout the house? But why dancing shoes? He must have had a meeting place in mind. Perhaps, somewhere deep in Langley Hall, there is a ballroom. Deep in Langley Hall, huh? Let's see how deep. Is there an option now to discover the ballroom? There sure is. And it requires just a little bit more staircase spelunking. We can definitely make this happen. I mean, we can, though. We can definitely make this happen. There we go. That should get us over 100. A failure plus a success should be enough. There we go. It is time to find Lord Langley. This is a thread that has been hanging for a bit. Dust rises as your feet tread the glass floor of Lord Langley's ballroom. Why would the floor be glass? Who would do that? White-tinted gaslights cast an eerie pallor over the polished glass and shrouded furniture of this vast, sepulchral ballroom. Your reflection rises like a revenant to greet you from 100 gleaming surfaces. A man in faded topcoat and tails sits at a piano at the far side of the room, listlessly sounding a mournful dirge. Okay, that's Lord Langley. I was about to say, I don't know who else it would be. He sits at the piano. There are remnants of a picnic scattered at his feet. He does not look well. How long has he been in here? He looks up at you with eyes red like flawed rubies. His handsome features are vulpine from hunger. As he speaks, he continues to play one-handed. We were to meet here in Eleutheria, where the star allows freedom. But he didn't arrive. I searched for him, exhausted my old network, ascertained that almost all he had been was lost. But something remained. Enough to hope. He pauses, and plays a long diminuendo. I thought perhaps he would come for me, if I showed him the way, if I just wanted him enough. His eyes are spent of tears. Why are you here? If not to return to me the man I love. Yeah, bad news there, buddy. Well, answer me. To find him? You merely wanted to look on the face of the lost Lord of Langley Hall? Perhaps you merely wished the accolade of having found him. Honestly, mostly it was curiosity. Langley Hall has attracted many who love him, and they want him back. You know, this would probably be pretty nice for him to hear. We could try to return to him his love, as you believe it is still worth looking. There That's an interesting idea, right? And it plays with Citizen Shore's backstory in interesting ways. Because Citizen Shore has suffered from a lost love and has willingly had the hurt of that extracted, like, where does that put Citizen Shore on this question? Because I'm sure that, like, prior to the extraction, I think it would have made a lot of sense to say, hey, you know what, we'll go look for him together. But now, especially with Citizen Shore, first of all, seeking to harden themselves, and then secondly, probably doing a pretty good job of it now, since the thing that happened with the agitator. I wonder if this maybe now seems like a pathetic answer. Let's say to bring him home. I do want to ask him, though. Probably asking him about the hall won't close the encounter, right? I think we'll still be able to answer his question, because this is not a response to his question. Did he build it or find it? And why do so few ever leave? Lord Langley shakes his head. Well, I found the remains of an old library, I think. Long ruined and all tumbled down. I did what I could. He smiles his half-smile. As for why people do not leave, he unbuttons part of his dress shirt, revealing a lean torso scarred by the signed language of the heavens. Correspondence has been seared into his flesh, like a tree had taken root in his chest and been set aflame. I was tasked by the prince who was halved to build a sanctuary here, long ago. That's very interesting. I wonder if they're the same sigils that appear on the obelisk at Polmir and Plenty's. Alright, let's try to bring him home. He smiles, weakly but sincerely. I know. I miss my friends dearly. But the more time I spent in company, the more I felt him slipping away. He shakes his head. I thought that if I were lost, he would come for me. His hand stumbles, misses a note. I won't go back alone. I won't forget him. I have left enough behind. He stops playing and stares at the keyboard. If you were to find him, I would return. But I fear he is utterly lost, his soul fractured. Finding him is an impossible task. Please, only accept if you believe I am wrong. I couldn't bear to... He returns to playing. Okay, well, this sounds like a thing that's going to take us to the Blue Kingdom, if I had to guess. You know what? Fine. I'll do it. I'll do it. He deserves better than this. I'm still, hardened or not, doing desperate things or not, I'm still out here, at least I believe, right? Citizen Shore must believe this about themselves. Still out here to help, to make things better. And while people whose names start with Lord are not really the primary beneficiaries, it doesn't help anybody for this guy's heart to be broken, right? Lord Langley's expression is carefully blank. A romantic, then. So be it. I'll tell you what I know to still be true, and you can work from there. He was uncommonly driven and uncommonly stubborn. He was arrogant and charismatic. He was naturally uncommonly handsome, too. He smiles at some secret memory. Even if all else about him had changed, I believe those traits would not. If you find him, and if you bring him back, I will reward you with all I plundered from heaven's vaults. That's interesting. His expression is one of desperate yearning. Okay, he didn't have to say that, but now that he has, we have more motivations. Okay, well, I think we probably have done all we can do here. So, we don't have any new options. I do not wish to establish a spider council here. Lord Langley's been through enough. If I wasn't sure before, I certainly am now. Okay, his lordship's grand clear-out is available again. Do we want some crockery or some gemstones? This is 200 sovereigns for gemstones that I believe sell for 300. You can see I liquidated a little bit of stuff. I actually have gained a lot of trade goods off camera, like through the last trip through the Reach and stuff. So we can afford to part with some money. We are, however, going to have to refill our supplies pretty seriously here. And I think we can just go straight from here to Eagle's Empyrean. I don't think we need to make any stops along the way. So let's just actually... yeah, let's really gear up. And you know what? Let's cash in this last facet. But for what? Probably we want something that's going to give us some hearts, because I want to indemnify myself a little bit against further losses. Although, our current level of hearts is actually very high. Maybe we should care more about mirrors? Because it would be super cool if we could use the Ratronaut again. Maybe we go with this. Along with some dear friends and acquaintances, you have formed a tightly bound clique of free spirits. I actually think this makes sense, right? Citizen Shore, although engaged in some very grim, very serious, very large-scale business, is also still very taken with artists and the artistic temperament in general. I think this makes a lot of sense. Finding the prevailing opinions of society stifling, you sought solace among more congenial company. What shared interest brought you together? Well, certainly a love of art. Citizen Shore still, like, there's a core of idealism there that's just never going to be banished. And while some terrible things have happened and some terrible things have been done, and there's certainly a hardening occurring, it's never going to be enough to banish that. And that is definitely the part of Citizen Shore that is in love with, if not art, then the idea of being an artist. Oh, I forgot there's a wind that blows through here. Well, whatever. We'll let it take us to the end of the map, or the edge of the map, and then we'll just go past the moon. Oh, I'm kind of surprised he's still alive. Oh lord, jeez, what is it, the Dowsers here? I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to get that loot. Oh boy, this is something. Okay, I would love to fight that Scornfluke, but I'm not sure that it's going to work here. Let's take the Scraps of Ancient Knowledge, and I think we're just going to bounce instead of trying to fight stuff. Wow, I don't know that I've ever seen so many Dowsers in one place. The good news is they're having as much trouble with the wind as I am. You enter Libertas, a field of freedom and gloom. I mean, it's mostly just empty sky, if we're being honest. Alright, if these guys want to follow me out of the wind, we might be able to kill them pretty efficiently with our extremely high damage, large explosion radius weapon. And who knows, maybe the Scornfluke will follow us out here. Look at that, the Patel method, it never fails. The thing is, if you just face one direction while fighting, then your enemies know where the explosions are going to be. Wow, we are getting all the way surrounded though. Maybe a little in over my head. I will say, these things don't really do very much damage. Maybe I don't need to be too concerned. This is like the loudest way to fight, though. These guys are even louder than Tachydes, I think. I will say that I really wish that it didn't make that horrible noise when you're overheated. Like, we can see that we are overheated. That sound is not necessary. Look at that, weaving between the shots. Well, you'd scavenge the plating. The higher your hearts, the more hull you will restore. I think we can probably do that. Of course, we're gaining terror, also plaques. Let's head back here. Hold on. I bet the loot from the other ones that we killed has despawned. It seems like loot particles. You almost have to keep them on screen. Yep, and the Scornfluke didn't follow us out either. Well, that's annoying. Okay, let's head over to the moon. We could use a little bit of a terror reduction. And then once we've got the Spider Council established, I have no idea at all what might be asked of us. It could be we'll have to go back to the Blue Kingdom to figure out our next orders. We'll have to go back and talk to the thing in the well. But we also might already have some idea. When I say we, of course, I mean the spiders, because obviously I don't have any idea. I do feel a little bad about doing this. I guess that, you know, you gotta break some eggs to make an omelet. Sort of the situation we're in here. I don't really want to infect anywhere here with a spider council. Maybe Winter's Reside. Winter's Reside would not have been a terrible place for it. Okay, let's just take a deep breath, everybody. Look at this extremely nice moon that somebody was kind enough to build. I'm assuming, you know, I guess I don't actually know this. The light from the Xanthus moon doesn't enforce natural law, does it? Yeah, I don't actually have any idea. It's just paper lanterns, right? These are not electric lights. They have the shape of paper lanterns. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, what if there was a good way, and keep in mind, I'm not talking about the Clockwork Sun here, I said a good way. What if there was a good way to still have natural law, to still have functional time and space, just without the judgments? Because I think that would really be our optimal solution. Maybe Citizen Shore gets taken in by the idea that the Crown has the right idea, but they're just executing it poorly. Like, the Clockwork Sun is not a problem in conception, it's a problem in execution. I don't know, maybe. We gotta somehow justify to ourselves that killing this star is a good idea and not just a thing we're doing so that we can feel like we weren't 100% at fault, or at least like we have avenged a little bit the death of our friend. Don't you stop there. He really did. He just, like, pulled it in front of us and then stopped dead. What an asshole. Why are all of the official military ships of all of the factions such a bunch of assholes? Also, where am I relative to this dock? Okay, it's over here. I wonder if I have to drop the spider off inside the Empyrean itself. Not that that would be hard or anything. Okay, we don't need to hire anybody on. Hey, bespectacled official. I'm just going to exchange plaques from the engines for money. We're about to be back in the Reach. We can take care of our terror very easily in the Reach. Okay, 50 entire sovereigns. And he would like... Oh, we don't actually know what. What is your current interest? We only have... Okay, they want a Piranesi report. That I do not have. So we can get a port report at London's Enclave. Can we drop off the spider here? No, we cannot. Well, then we're going to need to have our visa checked. Actually, we should repair real quick here. And then we may as well celebrate the Outrider launching. Okay, here we go. The streets of the Empyrean are well lit. Your spider will need to be careful. You watch your spider scurry into the hard neon shadows with some trepidation. You feel a connection with it. You did, after all, carry it in the now useless husk of your left eye when it was young. You needn't have worried. It returns a week later, having located a secret spider cult in the recesses of the city. They call themselves the Motherlings, are expert in the knitting of spider councils, and are fully supportive of your endeavor. Is it silly that I feel better? Now that I know that it wasn't... This was already here, this is kind of not my fault. It's at least somewhat deniable that this is my fault. Perhaps not. Perhaps not. Okay, so now what? we did all the things. Maybe we just leave and something will come to us? I guess we could head back in the direction of... the Blue Kingdom and just wait for something to occur. It is probably the case, I'm guessing, that we'll have to go back to the White Well. We may or may not get a little event in the meantime, but I bet we have to go back. You have established spider councils in the Reach, Eleutheria, and Albion. In time, they will multiply and grow, and found further spider councils in other ports. They will be the Spider Senate's eyes and the instruments of its will. At the heart of each council is a sorrow spider imbued with a precise set of instructions from the Senate, and they have much to do. This is only the beginning. Your scheme will be centuries in the hatching, although your own role is most vital in these early stages. In addition to their duties as your eyes and agents, the Spider Councils have begun work concocting a remarkable venom. Each council will contribute one element to the compound. It will be a generational work of noxious alchemy, a symphony of poisons. But for now, you must make for the Blue Kingdom and the Toll Tower at Low Barnet to make deals with devils, because every trap requires bait. Okay, I can do that. It turns out our scheme with the Spider Senate necessitates a base of operations, and where better than here? Actually, probably lots of places would be better than here, because, you know, the Sapphired King is watching. But listen, whatever. If this is where they want to set up, this is where we'll set up. The Toll Tower has stood for thousands of years. It can undoubtedly manage another century or two. What's more, the lower levels of the Toll Tower are occupied by devils, and the next parts of your plan will require their expertise on matters of time and soul. So we need to commission the invention of a unique soul. Devils are professionals in the assessment, refinement, and sophistication of souls. As payment, they require a staggering number of immaculate souls and an indulgence of the westernmost king himself. Oh hey, that's the thing that we failed to acquire from the sun's daughter a bunch of times, isn't it? Well, we know how to go and speak to her. 10 selections of immaculate souls, I have that, no problem. And the indulgence, okay. We don't have these things right now, but I can certainly put them together. However, I do believe we are out of time for today. Thank you all so much for watching. We're coming very close to the end of this, I think. So come back next time, Monday, to see exactly how we plan to take advantage of a plot that's going to take several centuries to execute. And we'll see you then.